So today we have a very special video featuring a beautiful 1964 Suburban on an '05 Tahoe. Now this is one of our newer spotlight videos where we feature vehicles like what we have behind us that we feel like would be unique to our channel. So in this video, we are going to be going over this beautiful truck over here, the background of how my buddy Isaac got it to where it is today. And this is something new that we've introduced to our channel. This is a spotlight feature where you, the viewer, could also be on this YouTube channel where we go over your unique builds. If you guys think that you have something worth featuring on this, make sure to leave a comment down below. Now let's hop straight into this and do a walk around of this beautiful, unique build. So there are tons of swaps out there. You see dent sides being put on 6.7 Power Strokes or 6.0 Power Strokes. A lot of trucks get swapped back and forth where the cabs are put on the bodies of a newer version with upgraded suspension and newer components, but still having the skeleton and feel of an older vehicle, but the ride and durability of a newer one. But this is one of the first times I've ever seen someone successfully put a Suburban on top of a Tahoe body. Usually it's the trucks and it's the other way around. This one's very unique because it still has the original riding, whatever you would call it, Hillier plumbing service. Plumbing is our, what does that say? Oh, plumbing is our middle name. So pretty cool. It still has a phone number and everything like that. So just a bunch of little stuff like this. Like he was able to keep the original, paint job on here. He didn't go crazy, fix all of the rust and like restore it, but he wanted to still keep its history tied up with the swap and everything. He still got the old license plates. He actually did have to put plexiglass back here because unfortunately it's very hard to find actual glass for these things, but looks great nonetheless. I personally like it whenever the dents and everything is just still kept in this because it all just tells a story, honestly. And keeping all this stuff also does add character. So the same thing on this side, it's just a mirror image of that other side. I dig the mirror setup and you can actually still see pretty good out of these. I drove it down the road earlier and you have a pretty good amount of visibility. Usually there's a lot of blind spots on all this. I think one of my most favorite things like about these old trucks is just like the aerodynamic or the way that they built things, like the windshield just bubbling and just wrapping around the entire body. It's not just like slapped on there. You got a little built-in visor, like that's part of the actual cab. Like whenever they built all this old stuff, they were just like very detailed about it. Even just like the body lines running all the way up here, just has a little bit of an overhang. Like this all just looks so beautifully put together. I feel like I know that they don't make anything like this anymore. So that's one of the things that I really like just about swaps like this, because you get the newer style reliability with the old style look, which just completes it all so well. And I'm sure someone's going to ask, yes, the turn signals, the headlights, the taillights, the brakes, everything work as they should. Don't ask me how he did it, but he did. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the interior. So we hop in the interior and it's got the entire dash of an '05 Chevy. He told me that the AC does work, the four-wheel drive does work, the heat, all of it works. It does also have front and rear air conditioning. Now he calls this his slap together project. Like I'm just sitting there staring at him like, dude, this is insane. Like, how long did this take you? He told me it took him 3 days to do it, which is pretty freaking insane. Isaac is a type of person that can pull out a motor and have it back in within like 8 hours. This dude has been wrenching away and has been a grease monkey ever since he was very, very young. So like he just, when it comes to Chevys, he knows everything about them. So I would not put it past him that he would have built this thing in 3 freaking days, because just anything to do with Chevy, he knows everything about it. One thing that I did notice when driving this is it does rattle. It's a little bit loud, but for like a 3-day thrown together project, and he hasn't touched it since. Like he was dailying this thing to work, driving it over like freaking crazy. Like freaking insane. Even on the dash, he did honestly a pretty fantastic job. And it's just crazy because this thing's just dirty. Like for me, it would be my show truck. I would take care of it and whatever. And to him, he's just like a different breed of person, you know, that builds their own stuff. And although it has sentimental value, it's still, you know, like a work vehicle. It's still a daily to them. You know, it looks great, but they make sure that it's still usable and like to drive it around instead of just keeping it in a garage and never actually getting use out of the vehicle. He also does have the rear seats for the back. There you can see the rear air conditioning, although it doesn't look beautiful. All that matters is that it works. So you got the front seats, AC, heating and air in the front and rear. You got the back seats, the doors open back here. Radio works. It's just everything in here works as it should. And honestly, that's pretty freaking wild. Like imagining just opening up the door and then seeing this and you're like, what the heck? It's just like stepping into the freaking future. And you guys might be wondering, well, where is Isaac? Where's the builder of this truck? Well, he's just like, I don't really like cameras. So he kind of just gave me the specifics and a quick rundown of everything so that I could show his beautiful project off to you guys here. One of the questions that I did ask him, and I'm like, how did you even come up with this idea? Like, what made you want to be one of the first people that does something like this, you know? Because I've always been curious, like the first person to ever swap like a dent side onto a 6.0 or a 7.3, whatever, you know, it's like, what was going through that person's mind that made them come up with that idea, you know? And so he's just like, well, I had my Suburban and my Tahoe parked next to each other. And he's like, man, I bet I can make them fit. And 3 days later, that's what he ended up getting. The next thing that I did ask him is, how did he even come by this thing? Like, I have never actually seen one in person, let alone swapped over like that. So I'm like, how did you even find one? He's like, it was literally just a lawn ornament sitting in my neighbor's yard for I don't know how long. And the price that he paid for this is actually pretty crazy. So to start off, just the Tahoe's body that he put this Suburban on, he only paid $250 for. So not the Suburban itself, but just the Tahoe that he sat the cab on. So Isaac's the type of person that finds insanely good deals, but he is always scouring Marketplace, looking, and he just lives and breathes Facebook Marketplace deals. This dude has found some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen for a very cheap price. And this Tahoe ended up being one of it. So he paid $250 for it, got it home. And then this lawn ornament here is actually going to blow your mind even more than that. He only paid $500 for it. So just between the cab and the body and combining those two, he only had about $750 into it, which is pretty insane. But that also comes from a lot of skill and knowledge. When you're the type of person that does this their entire lives, it's a lot easier for you to come up and brainstorm ideas like this than for a Ford guy like me to try and do this. It would take me freaking forever. So honestly, pretty crazy. From his words, he has about $750 into it with his own actual materials. 3 days to build an entire truck like this. And I almost forgot to say that this bad boy has the old 5.3. So one of the most famous and most reliable gas engines out there is sitting inside of this freaking awesome Suburban. I'm a huge fan of them. They pack a lot of power. They're reliable. And honestly, I don't really, if you complain about 5.3s, I mean, I don't know. You're just a hater, I guess. I love that about this truck. It's 4-wheel drive. It's a 5.3, AC, heat. I mean, what's there not to love about this entire freaking truck? Other than like, although I do like the way that it sits now, if it were like on a little lift, maybe we had like little 35s, maybe some 14 wides or something, I think that'd be sick. Or like some welds, real wheels, boggers, or just something like that would look so freaking sick on this. But then again, you know, it would make it less drivable than it is now. Like this, you could just take off and drive to town, run around, do grocery trips all freaking day in this. So I think honestly, this is like one of the most perfect setups as far as originality, honestly. But overall, this thing is a beautiful freaking build. Me personally, I give this thing a freaking 10 out of 10. I'm a huge Ford guy, but just, I mean, I don't know. What's there not to love about this? Let me know what you guys rate this thing down below in the comments. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you don't want to rate it, name something that you wish could have been changed on this, in your opinion, to have made it better than what it is now. Before I forget, if you guys want to be featured on our YouTube channel, just like this truck right here, make sure to send us a DM on our Instagram so that maybe you can be here with us doing a spotlight video on your vehicle. I would greatly appreciate if you guys could like and subscribe. And if you made it to the very end of this video, make sure you comment down below finished. And thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you on the next one, and see you later.